Hello everybody, how's it going? I wanted to talk about a few fragrances that are absolutely amazing. Used to wear these all the time, but now I hardly ever reach for them. So the first one I'm going to mention is Leighton by Parfums de Marly. Now, wow, there's a lot of fingerprints on this. This fragrance, a lot of people always grab for whenever they come smell things in my collection, and they really do like it. Now, this video isn't meant to mean that these are bad fragrances and that they're overrated now and they're like all that hype. None of that, all right? So these scents are still fantastic, but for me, there are just other things in my collection that completely dethrone them. So I hardly ever use them anymore. Now, Leighton is a cardamom vanilla apple fragrance, and I will still always, you know what, I don't think I will ever not recommend this fragrance, especially when it comes to people new to fragrances or the ones trying to make that transition from designer scents into niche scents, because this thing is extremely mass appealing. It's just one of those very few hard to come by niche fragrances that has amazing mass appeal. For the most part, there's a lot of niche fragrances out there that are a bit too polarizing for the general public, but this one always hits the sweet spot. I still have a very, very special place in my heart for Leighton, but it has been collecting dust in the collection because of Carlisle. All right, so Leighton by Parfums de Marly. Next is Egypt by 8 and Bob. Now, I still love this fragrance, and as you can see from the bottle, there has been a few sprays used of this, but honestly, it does not get that cold here, so I can't really wear this when I want to. And on top of that, again, same thing with Leighton, and honestly, it probably applies for all the fragrances you're gonna see on this list. It's just that I love them, but they have just been outshined by other things. And you know me, that once I love something, I can't stop talking about it, and I am always using it. And if you watched my previous video, then you know, or if you've been on my lives, that with me, I don't have trouble picking my scent of the day, because I have about 5 of my top favorites that I will always use in my rotation. And that's kind of the point of my top 5 fragrances at the end of the month that I've been doing since January. And some people get sick of those videos. They're like, there's nothing new here. You're talking about the same stuff. And it's like, that's kind of the point, to see what stays on top for the longest. If I kept making top 5 videos and my top 5 was always changing month to month, week to week, where is the legitimacy there? You know what I'm saying? It's not, at least for me, if I was watching somebody's channel and they always had a new top 5 every 2 weeks, every month, then the fragrances before that obviously wouldn't be too good, in my opinion. I'd be like, okay, you know what? I'll hold off on that one because they switched that up real fast. You know, that was replaced really quick. So for me, if it's top tier, it stays top tier for a long, long time. And for Egypt, again, Carlisle is the reason why I don't really use Egypt that much. But this one still has that sexy desert, Indiana Jones type of vibe, very unisex. Some people kind of get the smell of Obsession by CK in this fragrance, but I love this a lot more than Obsession. So Egypt, 8 and Bob. I'll put the names of the fragrances and discount site links in the description if you want to save yourself some money and if you want to support the channel. But of course, please buy where you're comfortable. Next is Creed Silver Mountain Water. Now, it's no surprise that this, till this day, is still my favorite Creed fragrance. And a lot of people, especially on my YouTube lives, ask for my opinion on Creed. And the thing is, I'm not really that big a fan of the house. I have tried several of their offerings, but nothing besides Silver Mountain Water was full bottle worthy to me, where I'm like, oh, I need to own this in my collection. That smells so good. You know, the rest of them were just kind of subpar. There's just other things that I've smelled that I just jive with a lot more. But with Silver Mountain Water, this still definitely has the uniqueness of smelling like mountain water. You know what I mean? It does make me reminisce whenever I smell this scent. But the fragrance that absolutely dethroned this one was Elysium. Elysium, and well, you know me, I love Elysium. and afternoon swim, but honestly, I haven't been wearing that one as much. Elysium and that salt and pepper combo have been my absolute favorite, but I would say if I had to compare it, I would say Elysium is the reason I don't wear Silver Mountain Water as much, just because this is nice. I don't get an inky note, by the way. Some people are like, hey, does it kind of smell like ink? Does it smell metallic? Not really. It reminds me of me going on hikes on waterfalls. So that is what this smells like to me. Still a nice, easygoing fragrance. My favorite Creed by far, but it just doesn't really hold a candle to Elysium for me, all right? You're allowed to agree to disagree. Next is a huge fan favorite, Citron Rosé by Mancera, and no, I have not tried the intense version of the fragrance yet. When I do, believe me, I'll make a video about it, but as of right now, haven't tried it. Now, Citron Rosé, I know it looks like I haven't used it a lot, but I have used this a lot last summer. And I will say I learned the hard way that this is a beast mode fragrance, because I went nose blind to it and then I sprayed more of it, and this thing was pushing on my skin. This lasts over 24 hours. Now, it's very easy to go nose blind to it, but this thing had massive projection. So me overspraying this those couple times did kind of give me a bit of a headache. So I learned to go like tone this down to maybe 2-3 sprays, 5 at max if you're gonna be out. Like if you're gonna be out on the beach for the whole entire day, you're not going indoors for shit, then yes, Citron Rosé, doing 5 sprays of it is nice. Again, don't really know much talk about the reformulation that happened with it, so I can't really speak on that. But I got this bottle back in 2020, and I did use it a lot last summer. So if you're interested in this fragrance, it kind of smells very fruity. It reminds me of walking into Jamba Juice in the opening, no lie. And then it has this woody base in the dry down that I love so, so much. That kind of gives it, you know, a little bit more, not complexity, but doesn't just make it, it kind of grounds the fragrance a bit. You know, it's not too airy, not very, it gives it some dimension, you know what I'm saying? So I do love Citron Rosé. What's dethroned this fragrance is the combination of salt and pepper and Elysium. But because I said Elysium more for Silver Mountain Water, I'm gonna give it to salt and pepper, just because I've been using that, like it's my scent of the day today again. So it's just been nonstop. And I love this one. Like Leighton, I will still recommend it no matter what, because it does the job. Like if you are, especially if you're somebody just looking for straight up compliments, if that is your mission, then yeah, Leighton Citron Rosé, totally gonna get you that, you know what I mean? But for me, again, just other things. All right, next is, where is it? Oh, Hachavat by Nishane. By the way, this is a unisex fragrance. Silver Mountain Water is unisex. This is unisex. Citron Rosé is unisex. Egypt, I find very unisex. Leighton is marketed as a masculine fragrance, but to me is very unisex. And whenever I've had girls smell this in my collection, don't tell them who it's marketed to. They're like, oh man, I want to wear this one. So based on people smelling these fragrances blind, well, this one blind, super unisex, all right? But with Hachavat, this is a fresh pineapple fragrance with an oak moss dry down. Now, people really rag on the oak moss. They're like, oh, it smells moldy, blah, blah, blah. And to be honest, I really think it's just their skin chemistry, because I think this thing smells fantastic. I have gotten nothing but love from this fragrance, and it's even more of a beast than Citron Rosé, especially because this now got reformulated and people are very cautious about it. This one, I don't think it's been reformulated. This is an extrait de parfum, so you know it has fantastic, crazy performance. And this one also kind of got headache inducing when I did 5 sprays of it. So again, if you do want to wear 5 sprays of this fragrance, go to the beach the whole entire day. Make sure you are not indoors. You're enjoying your life outdoors and, you know, getting some air circulating with like around you and with people around you, because wearing this in a crowded room is, it's going to get attention in some good ways, but then it might get it in a bad way if you spray too much of this, you know? So this is one of those rare, fresh fragrances that performs like a sweet scent. So this one I also used a lot last summer. You can't really see the juice of this fragrance. I can kind of see it behind the light, but it's down to here for me, like in this area right here. And again, Elysium, even like the Molecule 01 combination, like when Molecule 01 came in, I used that thing non-stop. So things like Hachavat have just been shelved, you know, and I love when things perform really nicely, like really like, well, you know what? I do like good performance, but sometimes when it's too strong, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's kind of like a double-edged sword for me, where it's like, yeah, I know people can smell me, but at the same time, this is kind of giving me a headache. So I don't like it when it performs that amazing. And I know that doesn't sound great, but for me, if a fragrance lasts around 8 hours, I'm solid. Even like 6 to 8 hours, because when I'm going out, I'm not gonna be going to a party, hanging out with somebody for like 24, 48 hours. So like having a fragrance that has that type of performance just isn't something that I care too much about. But if you're somebody that loves that, then yes, you will enjoy this fragrance. All right. Another scent I hardly reach for is Gentle Fluidity Silver by MFK. Loved this one a lot. I find this to be a better a better springtime fragrance than a summer scent, just because there is a little bit of sweetness in this fragrance that with the summer heat can become a bit cloying. But for me, this is a very icy cool type of fragrance. You know, if you kind of have, well, I've used this example so much, I'm going to keep using it because it makes sense to me. If you've played Mortal Kombat, you know who Sub-Zero is. If he was a fragrance, he would be Gentle Fluidity Silver. But yeah, this one's very unisex. If you're like a head honcho for a corporation or something like that, and you go to meet with your employees maybe once a quarter to check up on the sales and to see how that's going, then this is the fragrance for you, just because it does kind of have some sort of dominant quality to it. But it's nice. Like I said, it's more icy cold in my opinion. But yeah, I like it, but it's not a love for me. I have not used this fragrance in a minute, if we're being completely honest. And I didn't want this video to drag for too long. If you want me to make a part 2, I'll do that. And yeah, you'll see other fragrance. I'll give you a sneak peek. You might see a fragrance here in it. Maybe. But again, the names of the fragrances and the discount site links will be in the description if you want to show some love to the channel and save some money. But again, please buy where you're comfortable. All right, have a good day. See you in the next video.